Hello, and today we're going to be repairing the diodes on that laser supply board, and hopefully we can make a bit of an improvement to the original design. I'm George and welcome to the channel, and if you've not been here before, thank you for stopping by. If you're a regular, you'll know that this is part 3 of the laser unit series, and anybody that wants to follow the rest of the series, I'll put a link in the description, and also there'll be a card somewhere up there that will show somewhere to the rest of the series. This one is going to be sort of live electronics. It's not going to be anything more than soldering, desoldering, cleaning up the board, and generally hoping to get this thing better than it was. So rather than mess around, let's get on with it. Too much talking, less action. No, more action, less talking. Okay, so the soldering iron's warmed up, and as you see, we do have the board on. Now I have put the overhead camera on to close up, so you'll forgive me if it looks a bit too bright. But the first thing I've got to do is I've got to take the remaining diodes off this board. Now, they're already a little bit loose. I'm not actually pulling them off, I'm just checking how good they're soldered on before I start sticking the soldering iron at them. So let's just melt whatever solder's left on the back of that diode. What I don't want to do is I don't really want to damage the tracks any further than they are, because it just adds to the repair time. So here we go, there's another one that's just come off nice and easy with a tiny application of heat, and let's see if we can do that. We've got, that's it, and it's broken the ends on all of them. Now that we've got that, we've got to, we can see quite clearly, and I'm just going to be poking, this pad has pretty much totally disappeared, and this connects to the here, which is to the capacitor there. It also connects at this end here. These two are common, and these two link in together. Now these are the AC input terminals, so these have got to be soldered together. And as you can see, the copper is pretty weak because of the charring of the board. So we will work around this, and we will create some new tracks. There's the track there just lifting off. It's not particularly healthy, but we can work around this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this wonderful little drill, which I've got to admit I bought it a long time ago and I've never used it because all the time I've used my Dremel, which, you know, at the moment seems a bit overkill and a bit hefty for drilling something this size. It's USB powered, and let's plug it into a USB supply, and as you see we've got a drill. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 holes right through this. Okay, we'll go through the board, not the pad. No, not happy. We're going to break out the big boys' toys. This thing is useless, shit, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's even going to bother. No, let's get the big boys' toys out for the last couple of holes and see what happens. That was so much easier. Right. Now I've got the board turned over, and you can see that where the pads are, this has actually broached this track. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to take this track out here just as a temporary thing, and I'm going to replace it with an insulated wire. But what I do want to do is I do want to keep the track intact at this point, because I'm going to use it to solder the new wires to. There we go, we've broken the track at that end. Now we're going to take it out at this corner here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut through the track. Then between the two I'm going to scrape the copper out if I can. Like that. So that now the track is completely broken from its original place. And then I'm going to scrape off the lacquer that was covering the original track. So that our new diodes have something to solder to. And while I'm here, let's just clean up the backs of those holes there. Right, so that's the back side of the board. It actually makes quite a lot of sense to do that. Am I a hole missing? 1, 2, 3. I'm 2 holes missing. No, I'm not. I'm through there and I'm through there. I am. I'm 2 holes missing from the middle. Ah. Okay, I'm going to take that off of there because that is the AC input, and we're going to do that from underneath the board. This one goes to, just trying to remember which pin. Goes across to this pin as well. So I'm going to just scrape some of the copper there and just make the hole a little bit bigger. And again, with this terminal here that goes off to the cap, I'm going to bare the copper at the end, and all the other ones. And I'm just going to give it a quick dab with the alcohol just to make sure that the surfaces are as clean as we can get and that nothing is left in the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to replace them with standard 1N4007 diodes, 1000 volt 1 amp diodes, which is all these things are. These are the surface mount equivalent of the same diode. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bend that over at the top and put these in the holes in the same orientation that the originals were in. But I'm not going to sit them flat on the board. I want them raised a little bit. And the reason for that is if they get hot, then they're not touching the board and they're not going to char it any further if there is a heat issue somewhere. So we'll just put these in and and lay them in like that so that they're all in position. Now there's not a lot of meat left to solder them to, which is why I've had to clean up tracks on the top as well as take that one out at the bottom. And I'll show you how we get round that. Let's just put that one in there, bearing in mind we don't want that one to touch. And we're going to do the same on here. Like that. So they should all be about the same sort of length. So when we turn the board over, as long as the diodes are sort of sitting with the longer lead around about the same length, you know they're in position. Now the first two I'm going to solder down properly. I'm just going to bend their leads right down like that. Are the two that are connected at the bottom. To that track there. Just to make sure that they've got a decent bridge, I've put all that solder in between them. So let's just cut that one and cut that one. Now I'm saving the leads because I'm going to use these to help make the tracks. So now we have these two here, which go to the same point on here. Now to do that, I'm going to just bring that there. And I'm going to use these two leads and join them in the middle, just like this. So I'm going to fold that one down. And that will be the equivalent of the track on the top. Now you also know that I've got it to touch this part of the board here, which is one side of the AC in. So I'm just going to scrape the edge of that as well to make sure there's track there to solder. Now we've got one that's fallen out, but again that one I'm going to bend over because this is the other side of the AC in. So let's just clean the solder mask off of that. And bend that one over to there so that that one and that one will match up. Now one's fallen out, as we can see there, because we've only got the two leads. So I'm going to take advantage. I'm just going to solder this one first, make that connection, make that connection, and make this connection. And as you see, that's soldered now to the original copper track that was supplying the AC to these diodes. So that is the 4 diodes replaced, and I'm just going to again dab on the alcohol and clean up the flux. And check that everything is actually connected together. The AC is not quite connected there, so I'm just going to redo that. Just put a little bit more that. Yep, that's connected now. Let's check the top of the board that everything that should be connected is. That one connects to there. Let's make sure that that one right, so that is it. There's not a lot else I can say apart from it's not pretty, it's not clever, it's not the best repair I've ever done, but it is repaired. The next thing to do is just to test it, and the easiest way to do that is when we put the whole thing together. So I'll see you in part 4. As I said earlier, if you want to see the rest of the series, then it will be up here. There'll be another video down here that YouTube will choose for you. Go and have a watch of one of them. You might enjoy them. See you again soon. Bye for now.